Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Amanda, and on this channel I create content about Oracle, Tarot, journaling. I've done guided programs, I'm planning on doing more, and I talk about pretty much any other spiritual related topic that I feel called to talk about. On the last video, I did mention how my daughter was going through a terrible sleep regression. She had just turned 18 months, and I'm happy to say that I think the worst part of that sleep regression is pretty much over at this point. She is, however, walking very well now. I've mentioned previously on my channel how she was a late walker. Basically, she really just started getting the hang of walking, and that was because she was doing this knee walking situation. So it really delayed her walking until recently. We recently went to the exhibition, which is like this festival you pay to get in. It's in Toronto here in Canada. So me and my husband actually have been going for years since we first got together. So this year it was very exciting for us because we were able to bring our daughter. We couldn't bring her last year because she was still too little. So we really enjoyed taking her this year, and she was pretty much just walking the entire time. So that was really exciting for us. And also it was just really nice to be able to share the moment and just share the experience with her as well. It's been feeling a lot like fall here in Canada, especially where I live. So I have been feeling just really drawn to autumn energy, and I thought today it would be really fun to talk about the decks and the books that I'm planning on working with in the autumn. So I wanted to start off with this book, Entering Hecate's Cave. I believe I have mentioned it a couple of times on my channel, and I really enjoy this author, Cindy Brannan. I already read her Entering Hecate's Garden, and I've been so far really enjoying this book. I'm almost done. I think I have 2 more chapters left. So I am planning on finishing the last 2 chapters within the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Some other books. So as I've already mentioned, I'm planning on working with Persephone more closely during the autumn. So I went ahead and I picked up Persephone's Pathway on Amazon. I read a huge chunk of this already. I went up to 50 pages in one night. So, but I am planning on finishing up this book in the autumn, as well as this book, The Path of Shadows. This is all about Persephone, Hades, and Dionysus, I believe. So I haven't read too much of it so far. I've just read about Hades in the book. I'm not too far into it. I'm only on page 25. So I am planning on finishing up this book in the autumn. Hopefully I can finish it in the autumn. Those are the books that I'm planning on reading. The decks that I'm planning on using, I have here the Talisman Oracle. I just picked this up not too long ago. I forgot to mention this deck in my, I believe it was my summer, it's my summer daily spiritual practice video. That's it, the most recent one apart from this one. I've been really enjoying this deck with the Mystical Manga Tarot, and I have been really enjoying this deck. I love the aesthetic. I love the dark and light. And it has very powerful messages. The guidebook's not too bad. I also really enjoy the little box that it comes with. It's magnetic, and it really safely and securely stores your cards in your guidebook. But you can just take a quick gander at the guidebook here. It also has a close-up of the sigil that is on each card, and then you can get sort of like this miniature black and white image of the card itself on the guidebook. So, and it also comes with tracing paper for you to trace your card and use it as a talisman, if that's something that tickles your fancy. But this is definitely one that I'm going to continue using to the end of this month and into the autumn as well. Another deck that I'm planning on using in the autumn is the Seasons of the Witch, the Samhain Oracle. And this Oracle deck I haven't used yet. I'm looking forward to using it in the autumn, especially around Halloween. I'm assuming probably in the month of October or late September as well. And I'm really excited to work with it. I haven't felt drawn to work with it yet. I've been mostly just using the Flow Tarot with my, I mentioned it in my last video, my Sea Soul Journeys Oracle. I've been using this one mostly. And my Talisman Oracle that I just mentioned, as well as the Botanical Inspirations Oracle as well. I've been using that. But I am really looking forward to using this very soon. Some of the tarot decks that I'm planning on using in the autumn is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I usually use this deck with the Botanical Inspirations Oracle. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue that. I might just use it with my Samhain or my Talisman Oracle. I also pre-ordered some decks that are supposed to be coming late autumn, closer to Christmas actually, so I might be using those with these decks that I'm about to mention, as well as this one. I really do enjoy this deck. It is a pip deck, so it does require a bit more practice, but I've really come to enjoy this deck as I've gotten to know it better over the time. And I do enjoy the imagery, and it's definitely a deck that I like to sit with, and I like to come back usually at the end of the day and journal with it. It's just a deck that I like to sit with. So that's the Antique Anatomy Tarot. Next up, I have the Horror Tarot. This is illustrated by Abigail Larson. And I purchased this last year, I believe, or early this year. I can't quite remember. And I packed it away for the spring and summer. But I am looking forward to working with this deck again. I've always found this deck to have a very interesting personality. The deck likes to be read. It likes to be read as the opposite meaning. So if it comes up like this, straight, it's usually the reverse meaning, and vice versa, basically. If it's in the reverse position, it wants to be read as the upright position. So I think that's just such a unique quality that this deck has. I don't think that I've ever encountered another deck like this. I don't have anything else that likes to be read this way. It's very particular. I also find it to be a very easy deck to read. It's a deck that I like to use for targeting issues, shadow work related situations as well, inner child work, etc. And the guidebook, it's not the best, I'm going to be honest with you, but you can use this deck very intuitively. For example, this card comes out a lot as full cups, as having too much on your plate. Usually that's how this card reads to me. Sometimes it's asking you before you take on new obligations. Sometimes it's asking you to really take a look at what you already have going on and if adding one more thing is really a good idea. Also, I look at the cups and I'm like, I don't even know if I want what's in these cups. So sometimes it makes me think that maybe I need to ask for help or see if I can pass one of these obligations that I have onto somebody else, such as my husband, if there's maybe something that he can do to help out, essentially, is what I'm getting at. But that is the Horror Tarot. All mass market, I believe. I don't think that I have a single deck here that isn't mass market. Next up, I have the Trick or Treat Tarots. This is published by Llewellyn. I believe it's a deck that was written by Barbara Moore. I absolutely adore this deck. It makes me feel very nostalgic, honestly. Halloween is one of my favorite time of the... Halloween is my favorite holiday. It's my favorite time of the year. And I have very fond memories. My sister, growing up, she's 5 years older than me, so she was also very independent from a very young age. So she always made Halloween so extremely fun for me. As a child, she would work and she would decorate the house. She would buy decorations and then she would decorate the outside usually for Halloween. She still does, by the way. And we struggled financially, so my mother wouldn't really do much as when I was a child. She wouldn't do much for Halloween, just mostly carve pumpkins and hand out candy to the trick-or-treaters. My sister was always the one to really go that extra mile for Halloween, and it's one of the reasons why I look back at this time of the year and I have such fond memories. She made it a lot of fun, and she makes it a lot of fun for the kids as well. The next deck I have here is Tarot of the Haunted House, I believe it's called. So this is published, I think, by Lo Scarabeo, and it's a very beautiful deck. I think it's written by Sasha Grams. She did the Dark Wood Tarot. That was illustrated by Abigail Larson. So this is the exact same artist as the Horror Tarot that I have here. But it just follows the journey of Raven as she goes through a haunted house, basically. And this deck, again, it's mostly used for shadow work. It deals with darker themes. And this is another one that I'm very excited to work with in the fall. This is the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. And it has very gothic imagery. I purchased this deck, actually. I'm a longtime fan of Racine over at OwlMoon513 YouTube channel. And she highly recommends this deck. So I actually purchased it quite a long time ago on her advice, and I do not regret it. It is a very beautifully illustrated deck. It's vampires, although I'm not a vampire girl. I'm more of like the witchy aesthetic girl. When I was growing up, I was obsessed with witches. There was several years as a child where I would just dress up as a witch. The idea of witches just fascinated me as a child. But I do really appreciate the imagery and the sensuality of this deck. It's very beautiful. Also, the guidebook is amazing. So that is the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. Also mass market. I'm not sure if it's still available, to be honest. I tried looking on Amazon, couple of weeks ago and I couldn't find it. So hopefully it's back on there. And you can purchase a copy if you don't have it already, if you want. Next up, I have Soul Cats Tarot. So as I've previously mentioned on my channel, this deck is very witchy to me. It feels like autumn. There's a lot of illustrations that it's autumn colors. And it has a lot of lunar energy as well. As I've mentioned too on my channel, I have an affinity for cats just because of my mother. The way we were raised, we grew up with a lot of cats. And I've grown such a fondness for cats over the years. We had so many cats as pets growing up over the years. So that's Soul Cats Tarot. This deck is excellent for connecting with your intuition. I find it very easy to read intuitively as well. And it's, I want to say it's a Barbara Moore. I want to say it's a Barbara Moore guidebook. I don't have it on me right now. No, it's not. It's by Lisa Robertson. Art by Adam Ohlers. Sorry if I mispronounced that. I believe this illustrator is the same illustrator as the Oak, Ash, and Thorn, and the other one that they did, that's the animal themed deck. So this is the Green Witch Tarot. And I like connecting with this deck in the autumn as well. It's obviously it's the Green Witch. It's the Green Witch Tarot. So it is very witchy, it's very Celtic. And I haven't extensively used this deck, as I've previously mentioned, I believe in my Hecate decks video. I mostly like to work with this in a more magical way. But I am looking forward to connecting with this deck a lot more closely in the autumn. So honorable mentions, as always, one of the most important decks to me is my Wild Unknown Tarot. I typically work with this in the autumn to do shadow work, and I'm probably going to end up using this deck again in the autumn as well. I tend to use it honestly all throughout the year, or yeah, all throughout the year, throughout the seasons. Doesn't really matter what time of the year it is. And a new member of my collection is the Archetypes, Wild Unknown Archetypes deck, which I absolutely love this deck. I've been working with it for quite a while now, and I find that I can just tap into my intuition very easily with this deck. The imagery really speaks to me. This is one of the decks I like to use to connect with Hecate as well. And the guidebook, it's honestly not that bad. I don't really like Kim Kranz's guidebooks, but I really do enjoy this one. It has a lot of information. It has keywords. It has other works mentioned that if you want to do more research to connect further with the energy, you have that option. So some decks that I don't have currently in my collection that I'm debating working with in the autumn is the indie deck, the Pythonic Tarot, I believe. It's on Etsy. I'm sort of debating if I want to make that purchase, and I'm not sure if it's right for me 100%. It's kind of hard to tell if you don't have the deck in your possession, at least for me. If you guys have the Pythonic Tarot, let me know what you think about it, if you think that it's worth the investment. Another thing that I've been thinking about getting is a book called Of Blood and Bones, I believe. I'll put it up on the screen. I've been feeling incredibly intuitively drawn to that deck and I'm debating if whether or not I want to pick it up. I don't really follow a witchcraft path. I'm more, I guess I would classify myself as pagan, to be honest, but that doesn't mean that there's not valuable information to me and my path in that book, even though I don't follow a witchcraft path, is what I'm trying to say, at least at this point in my life. So let me know if you've read that book and if you would recommend it to me as well. Feel free to just leave it in the comments. You can email me. You can even message me on Instagram. I typically check those regularly, if not maybe every other day. Anyways, that is the conclusion of this video, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.